Wait. What's going on? I need to do it like this? Oh, like this. Vertically. Okay, so we're going to do this if we need to. Wait. Okay. Give me just a second. Okay, so as you see, title of this live is How Internet is Made to Destroy Us. We're going to talk a little bit about this because this is pretty important topic, especially nowadays, because every day we spend a lot of time on the internet. Some people work on the internet and some people are basically spending time there to kill time, to entertain themselves, and that's totally okay as long as we are not addicted to it. But a lot of people actually don't understand the mechanisms of the internet and how it is created. Okay, people who create everything want to create it as much addictive as it possibly can be, especially in products and services in which we pay not necessarily by our money, but by our time. Netflix, YouTube, other platforms, video games are things that we spend a lot of time on doing, watching. We spend a lot of time on these platforms entertaining ourselves, boosting our dopamine in order to feel more emotionally elevated, to don't feel this boredom of day-to-day life. Because to be honest, most of people have just boring life on a daily basis because they are not doing anything new, they are not quitting their comfort zone, and everybody has moments in their life, periods, where we have more boredom, and we should take care of this in order to feel that our life is more exciting by doing a lot of new things. But okay, everybody sometimes had these worse periods, and that's just totally okay. But problem is, if we are staying in this boredom and we are looking desperately for ways to quit it without putting that much effort into this, because we need to realize that in order to change our life, we need to actually have a lot of dopamine in our reserves to do some things which are not necessarily pleasant, which are not passive, that we can sit on our sofa and watch and just stay with our emotions and enjoy this moment. But there will be a lot of moments where we will not enjoy present moment, but we will need to go through, we will need to continue and work and do a lot of things that we thought in the past that it's impossible for us to do this because it's too hard. So with internet, when we see that in internet, it's created to basically take away our time, a lot of time. All platforms are created basically to take our attention from what is important in our life to things that they will serve us. And it's very comfortable for us. Because in this case, we don't need to put much attention into our life. Because when we start this marathon of watching, of binge, doing something which is pleasant related to technology, playing games or watching TV, we can forget about our life, and forgetting about our life sometimes in good when we are on travel and we are enjoying moments, seeing new things, sightseeing, meeting new people. That's perfectly okay. But we should stay also mindful, and we should not put our whole attention into something when we know that we need to solve a lot of things in our personal life. Because in this way we are basically deceiving ourselves that in our life everything is okay and there is nothing to be fixed. We are basically celebrating. But what we are celebrating? When we want to celebrate, we need to celebrate something that indeed was good feat that we achieved, something that we overcome. Maybe our spirit in our life when we overcome this. We want to celebrate because we see for how many struggles we need to go through in order to get to the point where we are right now. But trust me that if every day you are coming back from job and you're sitting and you're just watching for a few hours some series that doesn't necessarily bring any value to your life, you're just wasting time, and you know this. But you need to understand that if you will not stop yourself from doing these compulsive behaviors, it's going to repeat every day, every day, every day, and you will never get enough motivation to overcome this and to stop this toxic cycle. And we are stuck in a lot of cycles in our life when we do something without consciously thinking about this, and later we are wondering why we are in a specific place and not necessarily where we want to be. Because we are so engaged into these processes that later we forget about important aspects of our life, and we cannot be fully preoccupied by pleasure, by going towards it, because we are never going to fully obtain it. And it's all internet is created around this, to preoccupy our mind with something, to sell ourselves to this, sell our time. And later we are becoming instead of creators, because by nature we should spend most of our time creating. But indeed, most people in their lives, when they have free time, then they don't know what to do. They are going to squander their time on consuming. And consuming is okay if we consume something that we consider valuable and we know that it will be useful for us in the future. But if you are consuming something just to unwind, just to get rid of stress, it's not going to work in the long term. And in life we want to get long-term solutions, not short-term solutions, because short-term solutions are always going to fail in the long term. And you see that, for example, if you're stressed and you want to sit and you want to watch your favorite series, in the back of your head there is this quiet voice, your intuition, that is telling you that you should not do this, and you should preoccupy yourself temporarily with something more valuable, something that indeed will improve your life. We can improve our life by watching series on TV, but by dedicating a few hours daily for it, certainly no. See, I don't want to blame internet that this is bad thing, of course, because this is probably biggest blessing for our generation, people who were born in these times and who have possibility to use internet. But as time passes by, I see that internet is trying to more subjugate us and to put our minds into cage, into this hamster wheel. When we are just running, this wheel is spinning and we cannot get out of it, and we are not able to see that we are in this wheel and that something is not okay here, that we were not created to sell our time to this mass media, that we are not created to binge watch everything and later don't even remember what we are watching, that we are not created to dedicate most of our energy on things that later are finally going to deplete us. Because see, in life, when we dedicate our energy for things which are indeed worth it, later we get even more energy. This is pretty paradox, because see that people who are working a lot in their lives, for example, Donald Trump, illustrious billionaire, he's working a lot of time on a daily basis. See Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bernard Arnold, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of these prominent people are working a lot of time. And they're not thinking that, oh, I will work a few hours in this day and later I will rest. No, they're not looking for life in this way, because if you're doing what you maybe not necessarily love, But when you do what needs to be done and you know that it brings you in small steps closer to your goals, in this way your motivation increases and you're going to give energy, and this energy will literally immediately come back to you. And in life, we have to also think about this. If we are not doing things that we love, at least we need to sit and write. Just think, of course, what are the things that I'm getting from this? Where my life is going with these things that I am practicing on a daily basis. Recently, I also realized that indeed these habits have a lot of impact of our life, because we are mainly habitual, especially nowadays. As I told you, we are wired for either quitting pain or going through pleasure. And nowadays we are so spiritually disconnected that we cannot feel freedom from this mechanism, from quitting either pain or going into pleasure. And when we're spiritually aligned, we can quit this cycle or be more distance from it and to understand it more and go with happiness and don't be dependent on this pleasure. Because when we feel happy, when we feel joy within ourselves, we are not dependent of pleasure or pain, and we can act consciously. But if we are motivated either through pain or through pleasure, we don't have full control over ourselves, and we are still motivated by these primal desires. And see, whenever you are using internet, you quit your phone, you start to sit on chair, on sofa, in train or in street car, and you're wondering for a second, what should I do with myself? And when you feel this boredom, you remind yourself about something, about your phone, subconsciously. You don't even have to consciously think about what you do, because you have free and cheap choice under your hand, in your pocket. You take this phone and you start to scroll, you start to preoccupy your mind with everything, just to pass time, just to see what your friends are doing, what celebrities are doing. But what if I told you that this is none of your business and you should not give a damn what celebrities are doing? This should not be your inspiration. Because most of celebrities from USA, of course, I appreciate. They put a lot of work. But trust me, most of them should not be your inspiration, should not be your mentors. Okay, maybe let's divide these two differences. Because mentor is person who can inspire you as a whole. You're inspired by this person's traits, but this person's achievements, by how this person is conducting their life. And you can inspire yourself by people who are not maybe good inspiration, but they have one thing which is inspiring. For example, Mike Tyson. I think that his personality should not be that much inspiration, especially this version of him from the past, because now he is wise guy. But in the past he used to be addicted to drugs, he used to fritter a lot of money for unnecessary things, he was spendthrift, but he was most eminent boxer in the world, one of the most, of course, with Muhammad Ali. And you can be inspired by his boxing, but not necessarily by this whole personality. And mentor is something, is person that you can be inspired by this person as a whole, as you know what I mean. And celebrities should definitely not be your mentors. Maybe inspiration, as I said, but not mentors. And we dedicate too much time on watching what they are doing, on give me a second, on basically, I needed to check message, forgive me, and we are watering this jealousy by seeing how great life these celebrities have. Wait a second. And we don't realize that a lot of people in social media don't deserve that much attention. I mean, if they have, on some level, they deserve, of course. But we see that a lot of people deserve too much attention because of their controversy, and they are basically looking desperately for ways to get viral, to be famous. And you don't understand that each day there are new people in social media who are becoming famous, who are becoming viral. And these people who are just lurkers, they are spending their life on social media, not creating anything, not giving any value, not telling your own stories to inspire others. But there are a lot of people who are just watching and not doing anything, and they don't realize that by spending this time on this social media, they are regressing in their lives. And every day later, they're coming on this social media, they're seeing these beautiful views, beautiful woman, if you're a woman, maybe handsome man, and later you feel depleted from energy, and when you scroll this, you don't feel even pleasure, because your dopamine receptors are so burned out that you cannot even enjoy seeing these things. And later, when you experience life, maybe you don't feel that much excitement about what you're up to do. You feel anxiety. And you feel FOMO, that you're missing something, that you're skipping something important, what is happening on social media, that you're celebrity, that people that you follow added photo and you haven't seen this. Think about this, because this is pretty big business that is going to captivate our mind, and later, when we don't realize that we are in bondage, we cannot get free, and every day we are squandering our time for watching things. For example, on TikTok, we just scroll, we don't deliberately type what we want to watch. They are serving us content that we don't even necessarily want to see, but we must see it because they served it to us. And we are motivated by curiosity. This is positive in life. Maybe not everyone, but if we see something pretty controversial, we see something unusual, we feel deep desire to see this, to discover this. It's same with people, but in this case it's more positive. When you go out and you feel desire to meet someone, it's totally okay. Of course, if it's not type of desire that is going to make you suffer, or it's not kind of desire that you want to possess other person, because of course this is bad. We cannot logically on spiritual level possess anyone, because then we will not even reap the benefits of creating relationship with this person, and of course we cannot create relationship bonds with person that we want to possess and we want to manipulate, because this is going to fail and this is going to make even this person toxic. It's going to lower your energy, of course. And see that also we need to understand that if you're watching this channel, or in general, we need to understand that each person is emanating some kind of energy. This is basically fact. And what's interesting is that on camera, on social media, when you see other people, you are feeling their energy in some way because they're expressing it. And if they are toxic or there is something unhealed in them, some deeper problems, some things, some bad intentions, you're going to somewhat feel it. Some people are not able to feel this kind of things because their body is in a mess and they're not able to feel emotions properly. Sometimes they don't even feel anything. As people who are using drugs or people who use social media a lot, people who have low dopamine levels. But you need to understand that when you're watching these people on social media, on the internet, you are absorbing a lot of energy from them. Because see, if you're reading comments and you stumble upon some comments from haters and you go into conversation with them, you're exchanging energy. Not everybody will admit it, but trust me, that inwardly, they always feel difference later. And if you start conversation with hater as a normal person and you try to convince this person that he or she is wrong, you're wasting energy, and this person is influencing you in some way, and later our mind It's thinking literally constantly nowadays about something, either we are conscious of it or not. And this small situation is going to influence your mood for a few days, or later, after a few months, it can come back and spin around your mind and influence how you perceive other people, and can make you more cynical. That you see, for example, a section of comments on YouTube on some video, that there is a lot of hate, and later you generalize that people have a lot of hatred in them. But indeed, this is not true. And you're later perceiving the world through the narrow perspective of your own experience, and you see how internet influences not only levels of your chemicals in your brain, not only levels of your motivation, but also levels of your spiritual energy. That's why in a lot of their religions, they are telling you to not focus on these idols, on worshipping things which are not worth it, which are very temporary, and to focus on spiritual values, on creator, on things which are worth focusing on in our life, that will change our life indeed, not only in theory. See, I don't know now what to say, but wait, because I'm in flow state, so sooner or later, give me a few seconds, I will know about what to talk next. And the funny fact is that I'm recording this live fully spontaneously, and that's why I'm going to probably record it more in the future, in near future, because I like this type of content, because I don't need to prepare anything. I'm just speaking directly from my heart. It connects with my mind, and I give you some positive vibes and good message. But wait. On the internet, we will never feel that we know enough, that we are enough, because there are mechanisms that are going to make us compare ourselves continuously to other people. And not everybody will admit it, but when we see posts of other people on social media, we are constantly comparing ourselves to them in some way, either conscious or subconscious. Other people are not going to dedicate a lot of time to think about what you're doing on a daily basis, but on a daily basis, when you're traveling, when you're doing your chores, when you're living your everyday life, you think that a lot of people care that much about your life from this social media, your followers. But I need to tell you that not. In most cases, followers on social media are just empty followers. They give you follow, but later they don't care about what you're doing on a daily basis, because they are so preoccupied with day-to-day problems that they don't even have time to think about what you're doing right now. And you need to understand that internet is incomparable to real life in terms of creating relationships, friendships. Of course, we can create beautiful beautiful friendships with other people from around the world, and this is huge possibility for us, because we can meet a lot of people with same interest that maybe don't live in our nearby area. But meeting and spending time with people in real life is different thing, and this is much better for us to meet people in real life, because in real life we are experiencing something much deeper. And when you think that you're successful, that you get this number of followers, okay, it's kind of success. You needed to dedicate a lot of time, but never treat it as supplement for people in your life, in your real life, because these people in real life are real support for you and your support for them. But on this internet, we are creating this feeling that we are around people, but they are not caring about us, and indeed we don't care that much about them. We are checking their profiles, sometimes their videos, just to stimulate ourselves to quit our emotions and see when you feel ecstatic, when you feel emotional excitement in your real life, you don't even think about these people from social media because you're so engrossed in your real life that you don't think about these people on the internet. They have the same. If you see that they have these beautiful profiles on social media, on Instagram, they are enjoying their life and they don't care that much about their followers. Of course, they care, but they don't see, they don't know you personally. They know you just as a number in most cases. And they are enjoying in daily life. And that's why you also feel jealous, because you want to live this way also. But you need to understand that you need to dedicate some time in order to create this lifestyle that you want. It's not always going to be instant gratification that you will get this shortly, you will become overnight success, because in most cases we think we create our comparisons, our views about life based on the internet, because nowadays it's biggest knowledge base that we have. Internet. Whatever we want to know, we go on the internet, we type it, and that's beautiful thing about internet. But when we treat it as source for temporary information that we don't need in our life, this is not going to succeed. And when we go and type about these affairs of celebrities, of famous people, and we are reading these stories that are not going to influence our life in a good way, we waste not only our time, but we destroy our personality, and later in life, we struggle to remain present around people, to understand that people are not necessarily someone, are not necessarily people that you think they are. Because, as I said, social media influences our perception of the world in a huge degree, and later in real life, sometimes we don't realize, for example, on porn sites. You see people as sexual objects, they're not exchanging love with themselves, but they're exchanging something like desire, they are doing these sexual things because they need to. They will be paid for it. And in real life, people are not necessarily thinking in this way, because internet is also giving us this sense of fake experiences. We don't experience something, but on the internet we have feeling that we experience a lot of things, but these are more sensations than experiences, because experiences are more in our life. But on internet, when we see something, okay, we can get inspired, we can see beautiful places, but this is not necessarily a thing that is going to make ourselves more wiser, because we can get a lot of knowledge from the internet, but when we get wisdom through implementing this knowledge, through experiencing our new things in our life, through exposing ourselves onto things which are dangerous, and later we convince our mind that indeed we feel safe. So, sometimes also remember that there are a lot of mental disorders nowadays, for example, depression. And we need to remember that these tranquilizers are not going to help us in the long term to quit anxiety, because first and foremost we need to understand where this anxiety is coming from. And trust me, nowadays most of anxiety is coming from the internet. Later, when you stop scrolling, you start spending time on smartphone, on computer, you start to overthink, because you are overloaded with informations in your head, you're overloaded with stimulation, and after few minutes, sometimes after a few hours, you feel that you're missing something, and you feel that you're not okay where you are in the present moment, because you saw a lot of pictures, a lot of videos on the internet of people who are leading life of their dreams, and you feel that your life is a mess. It's hard to not feel anxiety at all nowadays, but we need to understand that we can minimize it tremendously through changing ourselves into people who use social media in a conscious way. Because if we won't have any self-control over ourselves whilst we are using social media, sooner or later we are going to get addicted to it. And a lot of people say that, okay, addiction is okay, because we can be positively addicted to something. But trust me, that if we are dependent on the internet, and we cannot remain a few hours without checking our phone, it's not okay. And it's going to impair our mental abilities, because when you have to focus in real life on doing some tasks, even on the internet, we cannot do this because we constantly feel a need to do something else, to check something, and we have this feeling of restlessness, that we cannot feel this ease. And we all want to feel ease, because when we are constantly stressed, we are constantly in this cycle of anxiety, we are not able to work hard, really hard, because we are not putting 100% of ourselves into what we are doing. And you probably know what is the key to success that everybody is talking about. It's hard work. Every successful person will tell you this. But they will not tell you that we should also restrain ourselves from a lot of things in our life in order to get where we want to be. These people that you are inspired by from sports are avoiding a lot of things, and you don't see it. You think that only hard work, only dedication. Not necessarily. They're avoiding a lot of things, and also they have different mental. They have different things in their mind. And when you clutter your head with social media every day for a few hours, what you're going to have in your head? You're going to have constantly repetitive images that you saw on social media, constantly repeated comments that you saw on social media, and you're not going to have a place in your mind when there is no thinking, there's only experiencing. And that's the reason why a lot of people who are addicted from social media are not literally able to feel. And this is strange, because when we feel apathy is emotion, maybe let's call it kind of disorder, when you're not able to connect to your emotions and you feel literally nothing. This is also somewhat related to nihilism, because when we feel nothing, we are not excited about life, we don't feel this zest, and nothing, and we feel, and we think that nothing is going to bring pleasure for us, and sooner or later, when we feel this apathy, we don't even feel much pleasure of consuming dopamine form substances, of smoking, etc. This is big danger of social media, of internet. Of course, as I said, there are good sides and bad sides, but most of people are using internet in a bad way, and later they are wondering why nowadays we have most amount of people who have mental disorders. Why? What is changing nowadays? Look into statistics and see how many hours, how many people in the world are using porn sites. How many time are you spending on your phone in a week? How much of this time is used in a proper way? I promise that if you will stop doing it, when you feel boredom, you will stop checking your phone. When you feel that you need to do something else, it will change you tremendously, and you will start to feel this control over your temper, and you will start to use your phone when you want. Not when your impulses tell you that you should do this. Our impulses are not our intuition. Our intuition is something back in our head. In most cases, it's very, very quiet, and it's guiding us in a good way in life. We are sitting in a streetcar, we are riding towards work or towards school, and we feel this impulse. Wait, give me a second. We feel this impulse, we feel this impetus that we want to take our phone. And back in our head, we have this short thought for a short period of time that maybe I should not do this. Because why? We are questioning it. And that's the key. We should question literally everything we do if we want to truly change our life. Because our life is running in an automatic way. And later, what happens if we are acting too automatically, we are basically not able to change our... We are not basically able to change ourselves. And then what happens? And then what happens if we cannot change ourselves? We are not getting further, because if we want to get further, we need to change ourselves. And we cannot stay in the same place nowadays, because every day there are more people in the world, and in some way we want to go further to later feel that something in our life is changing in a good direction, and not to wake up in 5 years later with this feeling that we wasted a lot of time. That's why I'm recording this live for you about social media, because we need to know that these are no jokes anymore. You've probably spent thousands of hours on the internet. And the key here, as I said, is to understand this tool and not use it in a compulsive way, and not spend all your days doing things, consuming things which they are serving to you, they are feeding your brain. Every month, stop for a second and question what you're watching. Because when we watch continuously this series on Netflix, this series on YouTube, and we click automatically, we don't even ask ourselves a question why we are watching something. We are falling into automatic mode, and we are reinforcing these pathways of instant gratification. We have less self-control. And what happens when you have less self-control? We are not able to divert ourselves into direction where we want to go. And if we want to go into the direction where we want to go, first we need to take care of ourselves on a daily basis and take care of these small choices that we do few times in a minute. For example, moving my hand is kind of choice. And I'm doing it consciously, not compulsively. When you want to scratch, you can also stop for a second. I know how stupid it sounds. You can stop, feel this uncomfortable itching, and scratch after several seconds. In this way, we are literally developing our strong will, and later in moments where our automatic on is trying to turn on, we are able to stay and to create ourselves by breaking these automatic barriers, these automatic manners in our head. See, people who are running marathons, long marathons, for example, David Goggins, there are some also from my country, but most probably you will know them. David Goggins, when he is running, he feels probably on his marathons thousands of impulses that he needs to stop. But what he is doing, he's not listening to them, because he's listening to his intuition, and he's going. His primal brain, his lizard brain is telling him, stop, because you're risking your health, etc. And later what happens? Everything is okay, he is still running. And this small devil, this small bitch in his head is telling this. Of course, I respect this person a lot, because he is true inspiration for all of us. And we need to get inspired by him and understand that when we listen to this quiet voice in our head, we can achieve a lot more than when we listen to our impulses, these temptations that appear in our head, in our body, in moments when we feel that we need to go towards pleasure. When we go towards this fast pleasure, fast, instant gratification, we are not getting everything later. And later, when we feel these impulses to do something compulsive, we have less self-control over ourselves and we are not able to overcome it, because when we fall into instant gratification, we are making our muscle of self-control, of strong will, weaker. And when we become weaker, we are going away from who you want to be. And we all have this healthy need to be someone more. Even if you feel abundant in the present moment, deep in your heart, you have this need to be someone better. And people who are not developing in their lives, they are quenching this desire with these easy pleasures by quitting their inner voice, because they don't want to listen to themselves, because inwardly they know that they want to improve themselves, but improvement takes a lot of this energy, breaking these barriers. And when we don't break these barriers that we have in our head, what happens? What happens? They are multiplying themselves, and later, when we want to break it, we have a lot smaller comfort zone, and even things which are relatively easy are outside of our comfort zone. We need to quit this comfort zone, and later what happens? On a daily basis, we feel anxiety in a lot of situations because we are not performing things which are stressful for us on a daily basis, and later it's harder for us to do things that we need to do, but we don't feel like doing them. But our intuition is always telling us, even if we feel the fear of doing something, and we feel that small voice in our head, you need to do this. In these situations, we need to stay for a second, and even if you are paralyzed by fear, you should listen to your intuition and you should acknowledge this voice. Because if you're ignoring, you're disdaining this voice in your head, later you're disconnected from your intuition, and later you rely on others. Maybe you don't have your own opinion, because you basically lost ability to listen to yourself. And what if I tell you that, especially nowadays, listening to our intuition is probably one of the most important skills? Because in a lot of situations in our daily life, we don't have access to books, to cell phone in some situations, and we cannot wail and basically yell for help from someone, from book, and we need to rely on ourselves. And in these situations, there are usually situations in which we feel that we don't know everything, that our head is clear. You want to approach women that seem attractive to you, but you have clear head. And in these situations, you should rely on each intuition. And what you should do? You should approach and feel that you don't know what to say, but still do it. And later, after a few seconds after doing it, your head is going to, and you're going to loosen yourself a little bit, and you're going to get more ideas, and you're going to get more creative to know what to do in these situations where you feel that you don't know everything, that you don't know anything. That's the key. I don't know what else I'm going to say in this live. Probably I'm going to continue it for 5 minutes, but I think that this is very, very valuable, and you should share it, you should like it, you should comment it, of course, if you want. But I know that this is a very valuable message for you, and we all need to sometimes remind ourselves basically these basic things in of life, because we tend to switch to automatic mode, and later we don't question everything we do in our life, and our life turns out to be just automatic, and later we want to quit this monotony, but we can't because we are stuck in our habits. But if we are not practicing all kinds of positive habits, and we have some bad habits, they're going to take us to the bad side. So basically, we need to focus ourselves in some periods of time where we want to put a lot of work to uproot all of our bad habits, to focus only on this good, and to addict ourselves not to bad things, but to positive things, and to keep ourselves on track, and don't do cheat days in which you can binge watch your favorite Netflix series, because that is not going to help you in any way. And this pleasure is illusionary. It's going to pass very fast. You're going to unwind, but later. Okay, I'm ending this live. Thank you for watching this. Share it, please, and bye-bye.